So in the previous chapter, we started talking about how every Yid has two souls, and we spoke about the first soul. The first soul is called the Nefesh HaBahamis, Nefesh HaChionis, the animal soul, the living soul, or the life-giving soul. And it's in a certain sense, it's the selfish soul. It cares about itself. It understands itself. It's interested in survival, of course, but it's also it feels, it's conscious about itself. It understands that it wants existence. It feels like an entity in and of itself. And that soul, we said, is connected to the klipos, but not from the three impure klipos, but rather from the klipas noiga, from the klipa, the shell that has light, and that is similar, that's connected to the Eitz Hadas, Toiv Varad, has good and bad in it. And we mentioned that that soul is the source of some of the good traits that a Yid has, like Rachmanim, we are merciful, by Shonim, bashful, and Goimlei Chasadim, we do acts of kindness. And so all of these come from that animal soul. And even that animal soul that we have, we said, is really different than the Goyisha animal soul. So we're not even talking about the godly soul. Even the animal soul of a Yid is very different than a non-Jew's animal soul, because we mentioned that a non-Jew's animal soul comes from, the source of it is different. It comes from the Sholish Klipos Hatmeyos. It comes from the three impure Klipos. And our soul comes from the Klipas Noiga, which is called the fourth Klipa, the Klipa that has light. Their soul is from total impurity. And the reason why they do good deeds sometimes, we said, is really because the good deeds that they do is ligar maihu. It's a Gemara. The Gemara says they do it for their own benefit, for their own enjoyment. That's why they do a good deed. The Gemara says chesed l'umim chatos. It brings the pasuk chesed l'umim chatos. The pasuk says the chesed, kindness of the nations, is a sin. And the Gemara explains, because whenever they do kindness, it's lihis yaher, to exalt themselves, to make themselves proud and show off, and so on. That's why a goy would do a favor. Now, of course, there are many Yidden that also do favors for that reason, because they want something from it. We do favors as well. Otherwise, but we also do some, we sometimes often find people who want publicity for their good deeds. So we mentioned last time that the Gemara, the explanation of that Gemara is that that when a Yid does, even if he does it for some ulterior motive, but if he doesn't get his ulterior motive, he's still happy. He still said, listen, at least I did the good deed. When a guy does it, he actually regrets that he didn't get his intended outcome if he doesn't get the benefit that he was hoping to have. So that is the animal soul of the Yid compared to the animal soul of the Goy. Now we come to the godly soul. And the godly soul, the Alter Rebbe starts off the second paragraph, the Nefesh Hashenis b'Yisrael. This is the second soul of the Yid. He chelak eleka mimal mamish. It is a portion of Hashem from above mamish. Now, why does he call this soul the second soul? The reason why it's called the second soul, on a simple level, is because the first soul comes to you at birth. The evil inclination is there already at birth, And the godly soul is not internalized and doesn't express itself in you until fully at your bar mitzvah. That's when it's fully connected to your body. That's why there's a discussion among the rabbinic codifiers of law, or among the in halacha, if a child does not wash negelvasser, does he cause the food to be impure? Why? What is the discussion? Well, the soul is not fully internalized by a child, and therefore it could be that the impurities don't try to grab hold onto the child because he doesn't have his soul fully in him. In other words, when we go to sleep, the impurities have the ability to grab hold of us, and when we wash our fingers, the impurities leave. That's why we wash negelvasser 6 times. You wash the right hand and the left hand. It has to be washed in that order. And if you do it in that order, it causes the impurities to leave. It's called the ruach hatumah. It leaves our body. But if a child touches food, there's a question. Why? Because on the one hand, he has a little portion of the soul is enclosed in the body, but the rest of the soul is not fully enclosed in the body until the bar mitzvah. So because of that, it could be that the levels of the impurities don't try to grab on to the child because he's not fully, he doesn't have the full godly soul there. And therefore, could be that there's no need for a child to wash negelvasser. That's why we wash negelvasser. A lot of people maybe are a little more lenient, or if, maybe they could, not necessarily do we wash them exactly by their bed, especially a little baby. I don't know if it's the, but of course it's a beautiful thing to do, wash a child, negelvasser by their bed. But there's room for leniency if they touched food because of this issue that the child does not have the animals, the godly soul, the neshama doesn't absorb into his body, fully internalize into his body until the bar mitzvah. So there are different stages when it comes in. Of course, at the bris is one level of where the neshama connects with the body, but it's not fully there. And so the Alter Rebbe calls this the second soul. Another reason why it's called the second soul is because what soul is the default soul, and what soul is the override soul? So you have the animal soul is really the default soul of the person, and you can override it, but that's really the override is the godly soul. So that's why it's called the Nefesh Hashenis. It's the second soul, because at least by a regular individual, the animal soul is generally the default. And so this is the Nefesh Hashenis b'Yisrael. Hi chelek elikah mimal mamash. This is a portion of above, and this soul, it's really godly. And this soul allows us to understand, to feel godliness, which means that the regular soul, when we think about people, we think about seichel, intellect. And that's in general, humans. But when we talk about the Bnei Yisrael, we are able to connect. By a yid, what's the mila, what's the greatness of a yid is that we can connect with, we can absorb, we can relate to godliness. So this is the chelek elikah mimal mamish. This is the godly soul that we have. And as it says in the pasuk, as it says in the pasuk, vayipach v'yapav nishmas chayim, that Hashem blew into his nostrils the breath of life. Now this is talking about Adam, and Hashem blew into his nostrils the breath of life. And and like the Zayar says, man de nafach mitoiche nafach. A person who blows from his most innards. Perush, what this means is mitoich yusoi umipnimi yusoi. From his inside and his essence. Shetoichios upnimius hachayus sheba adam. The innards, the inner energy of a person, moitzi, he brings out when he blows with strength. So what the Alter Rebbe is saying here, based on the Zohar, is that the pasuk is telling us something, that Hashem blew into his nostrils the breath of life. Why does it tell us that Hashem blew into his nostrils the breath of life? Because what it's saying is that there's a difference between blowing and speaking. When you speak, you could talk for hours and you don't get tired. But if you try blowing up balloons, you will get tired very, very fast. You will get out of breath. Because when you blow from your innards. And when you blow from your innards, it takes a lot of more energy out of you. You take from the essence of you. When you talk, you're just talking from the external. It's just you're just externally saying things. But when you blow from your inner, when you blow shofar, it takes a lot out of you. So when Hashem blew into the nostrils of Adam HaRishon, he blew from his essence, so to speak. What the pasuk is saying is that Hashem blew into Adam means that he gave Adam HaRishon the godly soul. He blew from a portion of himself into Adam, meaning he took from his essence into Adam. Now, the question, of course, on this is, well, what do you mean? Adam includes all the goyim as well. So it would seem like if you blew into Adam, that would seem like that would have an impact on all humanity. But the answer is that initially, before the sin, Adam was actually the neshama klalis, the general soul of all the Yidden. And there was no such plan of even creating the goyim. It was not a plan. The goyim were not meant to be created initially. Now, because Adam sinned, and there became a mixture of good and evil, that caused that Adam's neshama now he was not just, it caused that there would be created goyim as well. But initially his soul was a general soul that was supposed to be broken up only into the 600,000 Yidden. And each of those souls would be general souls, which again could each have a spark, 600,000 sparks. That's the amount, that's who was planned in the initial blowing into Adam HaRishon. And so Adam HaRishon had the neshama klalis of the Jewish people. And that's what it means when it says Hashem blew into his nostrils the breath of life. And the Tanya continues, and it says, Kach al derech moshel neshamas Yisrael olu b'machshava. That the Jewish people came up, so to speak, in God's mind, k'dechsiv b'ni b'chayri Yisrael, like it says, my son, my firstborn, the Jewish people, banim atem laHashem elekechem. You are children to Hashem, your God. And what that means is that we are an extension, just like a child is an extension of his parents. So we are an extension of Hashem. That's why the verse is calling us children. So we are an extension of Hashem, which means that we have a portion of Hashem in us, just like a child has the DNA of his parents in him. He has a certain genes and so on from his parents. So a Yid we are an extension of Hashem, and that's why we are called the child of Hashem. Banim atem l'Hashem Elokechem, and we are an extension of Hashem. We're going to